We'll debug this report and we'll try to understand how this is working. I have my notepad file in my desktop. You can see this FTXP. Okay, with the 9 entries. Okay, so we have the declaration, parameter, file, upload, appending, call transaction. Okay. Here, every loop, what we are doing, we are generating the ITBDC data in all the subroutines, right? You can see we are appending ITBDC data. So this ITBDC data will fill every subroutine. And finally, we are processing here. How we are processing? In BDC transaction, call transaction, T code, using BDC data. So in BDC data, we should have the recording of the particular entry only for single entry. When the second loop is started, this because this transaction also part of this loop. When second record, because in ITFTXP will have this 9 entries. When second record is processed, ITBDC data should be refreshed because we need to pass the fresh record. So I'm just refreshing that. Refresh ITBDC. Otherwise, it will process 2 transactions. First one is executed fine, but when it comes second time, first transaction recording also will be carried forward. And when it is submitted, it will be submitted twice. When it process third record, then it will be processed 60 entries, 7, then 80, 100, it will be processed. For every record, we have 20 lines here, right? From here to here, 20 subroutines are there. Okay. So that is one we need to take care. And here messages I have to write in detail. What I can do, I can try create one variable called MB message. Type string. Okay. So since all these subroutines are part of loop, so loop variables we can use. So what is the tax code variable here in this? So this is a tax code variable. Okay. Work carry FTXP MWSKJ. This is country, then tax code will come. So I wanted to write here concatenate. We discuss in string operations, right? Concatenate this tax code. Processed successfully into MB message. We created one variable in the top now, separated by space. Okay, message MB message. Type information. So we concatenated number and tax code process successfully together. O1 tax code process successfully into MB message. That overall message concatenated and pushing into MB message which separated by space. So this is the final message. So that message we can pass here as a variable. And next, when it comes to here, concatenate tax code creation fail. Into MB message. Separated by space. Okay, here again, MB message we can type. See, you can here also MB message is there, here also MB message. Instead of writing twice, okay, you can write outside of the if condition. Here we don't need to write in that case. In both cases, any one condition only will be executed, either if condition or else part, both will not execute. In both places, we are updating MB message only. This MB message we can use here to display the message. But in some scenarios, if condition success message should be an information message, failure message in error message. That time you have to write inside only. Okay, now I think we can execute. I'll press the breakpoint here, activate, execute file. I'm just selecting F4 with F4 file name function module. Okay. When you're processing file should not be open state. Close this file, go to desktop. Not only for BDC, anywhere in SAP, when you're uploading some file should not be in open state. Okay, so this is the file path. Just processing. When you execute, debugger will start because GUI upload should be executed. There I put a breakpoint. See here I put the breakpoint. What is P file? This one. Now if you see here, if you remember in classical report, we have some issue with the file name. Did you remember that? Hello?
No, Kishore, I don't remember.
File name is the character 128, P underscore file. Here file name is a string. So there is a type mismatching. If I execute that, same issue will come here also. Okay, let's check first. F6. I can see it. Call function conflict type. I can see here. File name is P file sub specified is different field type. Okay, again we go the run. So what we did last time. Listen now. Jayanti, any idea?
Don't remember, sir.
Okay. MB file name equal to P file. Here we pass MB file. So MB file, what is the type of MB file? It's a string. String equal to string. Okay, it will not give any. Okay, so execute again. Select the file. Execute. What is a P file? P file is a file path. You can see this is a file path. And what is MB file? MB file is empty. Once we complete this statement, I can see MB file also with the same path. We're executing F6. See, it is processing. So it will ask this. The system is trying to access a file in this location. Grant the permissions. Just click on allow. Okay. So this is based on the authorization activities. If you have the role, you'll get this. If you don't have the role, you'll get some authorization error. Okay. This. What is the size of bus here? 0. So here not equal to 0 means failure, file reading error. 0 means it will go else part. See, now we are in else place 64. So before going to next line, first we'll check how many entries are there in internal tape. How many entries are there, guys?
11.
We have 9 entries only. Okay, one empty space. You can see headings also captured here. These are all headings. Okay. See, content is wrongly captured.
But it shows 11 entries.
Yeah, I'll tell you. 9 entries plus heading 10. 11 is coming because we might click on enter in the document. So that is considered as one line. So there's a document. You can see this should not be added. Cursor should be ended with here. And tax type, it is coming in this position and percentage is coming differently. So it's not capturing. But as of now, GUI upload is working, but positions are wrong. Country is fine. Tax code is fine because we provided MWSKJ, that is 2 characters length. That is why heading also captured twice. Here also, country is 3 characters. That is why CYU only captured. But when it comes to MWART, values are capturing fine, but heading is more to next. So we'll need to check. Yes, you can see here there is a 2 tab spaces. So that is why it is more. Only we should have 1 tab space because here also we have 1 tab space. one tab space here. See, two tab space are there. You can see. That is why content is not captured here. Only one tab space we consider. After that, not empty only there. This one is empty. Okay, that is why it is captured. Remove this. Okay, save. Yeah, I removed last line, empty line also. I'll just restart it again. Started the debugger. MV file is there. G upload. 10 lines with heading. Is it fine now? Ignore the
Yes,
headings.
sir.
Okay, headings coming based on the field length. Okay, you can see percentage is coming, output tags, text, tax codes, countries also coming fine. Okay, now here if you process, even headings also will be processed. If you process what is the first work area, having headings. This is not the content, no. We don't need to process this. This is just for a reference purpose in the document. This is not the actual values. So we need to skip this first. Okay, what we can do in that case, let me restart it again. I'm not going to execute. We want headings to be displayed in file, but we don't want to process the content. So what we can do in these scenarios, inside you can write if site fabrics will give the loop numbers not equal to 1. So not equal to 1 only, we need to process. Not equal to 1 means it will start with 1 only. First, when 1 is coming, it is equal to 1. So condition will fail, it will not read, it will not process. So headings will not process. When second loop started, it is 2, not equal to 1, satisfied, that will process. Understood, guys? Yes. Read it. 10 lines, you can see. 10 lines are read properly. What is site fabrics? 1 you can see. Since 1 not equal to 1, it will skip. Okay, basically it is equal. Right? Like second loop is started. Now what is a loop? 2. 1 not equal to 2 success. So you can see this is the first entry. We open work area O1. Okay. France O1 10% of output tax A10. This will process. If you go inside F5, see it is started. It is going inside. ITBDC data. How many entries we have? How many entries we have in ITBDC data?
0.
This is the starting position. If I press F5, if I press again F5, it will go inside of the subroutine. You see here, inside means this is a block. Okay. Program, time pro, time begin, field name, field value. This is the variables. You can see what is filling. 300 is filling, X is filling, field name, field value is empty here. You're not processing anything. Work area BDC is filled. IT BDC data still is 0 entries. Once this append is working, this here 1 entry is pushed, right? Are you able to see
Yes,
that
sir.
1 entry? Yeah. So now we are clearing work area because next time we need to push 1 more entry. That is why we are clearing work area. Again, it comes to top. We have a second subroutine. It will go to this subroutine. Here also we are appending one more record. You can see now ITBDC data, how many records we have. Are you able to see these two entries?
Yes, sir.
How this internal table looks like? Looks like recording, right? If we go SSDB, this is our recording. Can you compare here? Ignore the first line. Second line, you can see program is at 300x, remaining is empty. Next line, program dyne beginning is empty. Field name cursor is there. BDC cursor as field value 01 also there, right? We process two subroutines as of now, right? Only these two we process. Remaining we are going to process. I'm not going to press F5 because we already see dyne field how it is working. I'm just pressing F6. Subroutines wise, you can see it is internal tables keep on increasing. Right, 7, 8, 9. Every subroutine will push one entry. If you open this tree here, if you press F6, you can see one entry is pushing. Are you able to see this?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, total 20 lines we have. Right, 18, 19. What will come? UPDA is the last one, update. If you compare with the recording, is here, same as it is. Right, UPDA, KBTR. Only instead of 10, when we do recording, we did 15, but here in our document, we have 10. /n is same, 10% of output tags. Here it was recorded with 15%. O1 we are getting, it was recorded O2. Okay. So here you might see this zeros are coming. This is not the value. This is just initial values. Consider this is empty. This will not help. Okay.
Okay.
Is it clear, guys? Now we process 20 subroutines. Now see cursor. Where is the cursor? Line number 104. All this UPD, everything is done. Now we are in this subroutine. Click F5, it will go inside. What is there inside subroutine? Call transaction is there with ITBDC data. ITBDC data already having 20 recording lines. With these recording lines, we are processing. So what mode I mentioned here? Update mode, all screen mode I mentioned. If you remember in yesterday's session, I was process using the process button with the little pop-ups is coming. Similarly, if you mention all screen, it will work same as same mode in the same process. It will work. You can see I press F6 is here. Understood? 15 is already there. That is why it is displayed. Okay, if it is processed, we can see the messages here. We can see in messages, message type success, message ID F4794. Open SC91 and check what is that. Because we have the recording, we have a record already in FTXP. We process again. We need to see what is the message. Import note and transport in tax codes. It's just warning message, success message only. Actually, basically, we have that entry and we processed again. Okay. Now, same process will be repeated. You can see here, we're getting size of bus is 0 because we didn't get any errors here. But actually, is it actually created or how it is? I can see what is MB message. It is fine. O1 tax code processed successfully. Is it correct? Because that was already processed previous. Now when we process in this session, in this process, in this execution, we found that O1 was already created. But in message, it is showing it is processed successfully. What users feels that that transaction is processed today only. That transaction is already processed 10 days, 15 days back. What we supposed to display here, guys? We supposed to display the message. It is already created. It was already created. Like that, we need to display. Okay. So it's an additional validation we have to write. Okay, if entry is already there, we don't need to process. Where we can do that kind of validation, we need to check where it is storing. Actually, we have to identify the table where it is storing, and then we have to identify. You can see some tables are identified here. TW7A, it is there in TW07A. You check in this table. You can see tax keys are there. MWSKZ tax codes are available here. Tax code 1. We don't have country option here because country also we have to consider. O1 can be created for India as well. Okay, you can see O1 is created for, this is procedure. So there are different processes. You can see for each country having different processes. We have to identify first of all. Okay, so we should write some select query for the standard tables, whether these entries already exist or not. So we are processing for France. We have to check 15% of output tax, we can see. So this is a procedure. Tax, F means France, you can see. Yeah, we can see tax if. Yeah, you can see here, sale tax for France. So this is a procedure. Procedures also having might be separate table. First, we'll see whether we have the table. This is the procedure, tax procedure. Plus double click on check. How to identify the process. We can see in the domain level any value table is there. Yeah, we have the table here. T6. Pricing procedures. Okay. Client control application. Do you have any country option here? We don't have. We have a procedures, but we don't have country option. We should have to identify the combination for particular country. What is the procedure? If we can identify that, we can add that TW7A table. Okay, so that validation anyway will get from functionals. As of now, I'm using this for condition. Okay, TW07. So before calling the call transaction, I'm just writing select. What we can select from this table, guys? KLSM MWSKJ from TW7A into work area FTXP hyphen MWSKJ comma work area FTXP hyphen procedure is not there, right? Okay, I'll pass this only. MWSKZ I'm just reading into this variable where KLSM equals to tax if I'm just hard coding as of now, and MWSKZ equals to work area FTXP hyphen MWSKZ. So this is the statement. Select statement, select single because we are checking only single entry. If these entries there in the DW7A table, what is it? FTXP MWSKJ. Okay. So what is happening in this select query? We are just checking whether it is already created or not. Because we are processing for France country. France country procedure is tax F. And this is a tax code O1 or O2 O3. If it is already there, if size sub R C not equal to 0, if it is not there, then process call transaction. Otherwise, right, else we have to write message here again. Concatenate OKRI FTXP MW SKChat was already created. Understood, yes? We have to validate. These are all master data validations. When we are processing something, we have to check first whether it is already created or not in the standard tables. If I execute now, you can see it is executing. I'm just pressing F6. In transaction, what is this size of us is 0? Size of us is 0 means the value is processing. It is already there. What will happen here? Not equal to 0. This is different. Size of us 0 means it is already there in this table. Not equal to 0 means if it is not there, then call transaction will process. If it is already there, then it will be executed. We should not write message because every loop will get message. Okay, first we'll see how it is working. Else, you can see O1 is already created. Okay, we need to write it as a message because we have multiple records, right? We have to display as a write. Because when we'll be processing 20, 30 entries, every time pop-up will come, then you have to close pop-up every time. And there is no use of writing this program. Everything should be completed, then it should be display final. You can write here. If you want, you can write here. Slash, okay. Then execute. Now execute. Debugging is starting. I'm not going to debug. Directly I'm pressing F8. There is one more problem. All screen mode also we have to be was enabled to check. Now see, this is O2 is creating. O2 is created successfully. See, O2 tax code process successfully. Remaining entries are already there. Are you able to see these messages?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was processed this O2, O1 to O9 already. That is why we are getting already it is created. Only O2 we deleted last session, right? That is why it is only processed. If I go FTXP, if I delete those, example O2 is created, I'll delete this. I'll open FTXP again. O3 is there already. I'll delete this. Okay, two things are deleted. Next time if I process again, O2, O3 will be created. Or O9 if I delete. Okay, one and one's deleted. Now if I go to the report and execute. I'll remove this all breakpoints if I execute. So again, there is a all screen mode. Basically, all screen mode I have to disable. Okay, let's process it. I'll cancel this. If you process also, it will be processed. Every time you have to press this. Every record. See, O9 also it is defined. See, O2 created, O3 created, O9 is created. Because we deleted these three. So this is all screen mode. Okay, now I'm going to show no screen mode. All screen mode means we got that little pop-ups, right? We need to continue each and every pop. No screen mode means we just need to mention N. Okay, here we have to write no. N means no screen. Okay, execute. Entries are already created for everyone, but suppose if I'll, for sample purpose, I'll delete one is /FTXP. O5 I'll delete, okay, which is already there. Now at least this is supposed to be process. So when I execute this report, we'll get direct. It is not changed. It's coming in foreground mode only. Okay, not here. Update is synchronous, asynchronous only. Mode here we have to mode. No screen mode. Let me write it clearly. Batch input session, recording code. Update A and S options are there. We have here. N means no screen. Okay. So I'll delete FTXP. I'll delete from tax code 6. Okay, for this time testing, to do the testing, I'll delete 06. Yeah, I'll go to the report, execute, desktop, select this and execute. See, no screens, nothing is coming. O2 tax code process successfully. O tax code creation failed. 06. Some issue with 06 data. Okay, so this is not created on the background process. Why 06 is not created? So we are using messages also, but we are not using this messages anyway. So this also should be clear. That is not the reason, but I'm just checking. This also need to be clear. Actually, refresh IT messages. Creation fail, where it is coming. Here it will come. If it is call transaction failed. We have to check why it is canceling, because in first record, when it comes to this position, it is already created. Second time, second look, it will come. Anyway, we are refreshing ITBTC data every time. So we'll get fresh record only. What I'll do, I'll put breakpoint here. Okay. FTXP. Trans O2, what is it is already created. 06. Okay, O6 is not yet created. We'll use that only. We need to check thoroughly the report is working or not for with multiple scenarios. I'm just executing. The debugger is started means it is processing O6. You can see here. Okay, we'll see why this is getting failed. So this time we have to use this scenarios. It will help us to use error screen mode. I directly use first. I use all screen mode. Now I'm using no screen mode. First we'll process it. We'll get size of bus 0. Okay, now this time it is processed. Export process successful. So majority cases in ABAP program, not only in BDC concept, I'm telling, many times we'll get errors. There is no any issue with the code, but getting errors, we will get errors. So to resolve that, you don't need to write any code. Only just, I'll suggest just debug once the code line by line. It will work automatically. When you debug, you will get more issues. If there is there are some programming issue, when you debug, we'll get to know that. Okay, after debugging, automatically code will work. If there is no issue with the code, then once you debug, because when we are writing the reports, it is storing in the runtime memory. In a runtime memory, if properly not generated for each and every line, there will be a problem with the programming execution. So that is why we are facing technical issues, small issues. If you debug once, that blocks will be cleared. So program will be generated properly. That will be executed in proper sequence. Okay. Understood this call transaction process? We are calling the transaction with all screen mode, no screen mode. We can see all the messages immediately only. If I process again, we don't need to wait for the messages, whether it is complete or not. But once I execute, we can see all the messages here. So this is a processing of session method. Okay. So we are just using BDC open group, BDC inside, BDC close. 3 function models we are also using to process in the session method. Okay, so basically session is a asynchronous processing, but update is synchronous update. Synchronous update is very slow. It is doing like commit and wait. So transfer of data for multiple transactions, we have to use BDC insert. Here we have to pass that IT BDC data. Open and close is just with just to start the session, but insert is having actual IT BDC data. That recording of 20 lines we are pushing into BDC insert. As compared to call transaction, this is slow, but best suited for bulk transfer, like more than 10,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh entries, we can transfer with this. So this will store the sessions and it can be also processed later. Okay, automating error handling and the value of size of bus C can't be rechecked. Now call transaction, after call transaction, immediately we wrote the size of bus C right here. This cannot be processed in the session method. We can't able to write that like that. Okay, so never written because records are stored temporarily in the session. After the records are updated in the database, we will get all the logs, the error logs, failure, success messages, all kind of logs. It can also handle a small amount of data as well as large amount of data. There is no restriction on call transaction, session method, or transaction wise. Only from technical problems we are using this, because call transaction, if is more than 10,000, it will take more than 5 to 6 minutes. Basically, in production scenarios, for every report, maximum timeout, it will be 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It is configured by the basis team. Okay, so it depends on the project. Some projects they mention 1 minute only. Some projects they mention 5 minutes. If the report is executing more than 5 minutes, it's keep on working and it's not displaying output, then it will throw runtime error automatically. Okay, so that is why we are just functional point of view, just deciding less than 10,000 will go with call transaction, more than 10,000 we are using session method. Session is, we don't need to process immediately. It will store in SM35 and can be used later processing also. Later processing means suppose you executed this report twice with some 2 Excel inputs. Okay, you wanted to work some other activities also in the particular date. You can work on those activities. When you log off, before log off, you just process it. Okay, and next day morning when you log in, you can check whether it is completed or not. You don't need to sit in front of the system whether it is working or not. But if you are processing call transaction, you should sit ideally in front of the system until that program is working. You can't able to do other. Or in the morning only, you can process this session method. It will be running in the background. Either whatever the 1 lakh, 2 lakh entries are executed, it will be running in the background. We can work on other activities in SAP system, like whatever the activities you're working. After afternoon or after 1 hour or after, or end of the day, you can check whether it is completed or not. Okay, I'll show that how can we implement this. So I'm, instead of writing each and every line of this program, just copying this report, only the milestones, the major code I'll change. Okay. Call
Sir,
transaction. Yeah. Yes.
sir, where we mention asynchronous or synchronous types, sir?
Yeah, I'll show you session method. Session method. Here we mentioned that asynchronous, update mode. In call transaction, we mentioned here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can write here synchronous. Okay.
In program, I'm asking, sir, update A is asynchronous, sir.
Yes, this one update is asynchronous. If you write here yes, that is synchronous. Okay.
Okay, but you
Call.
said by default asynchronous is
No, here we are updating the database. Process is different, updating is different. Working process is asynchronous. Call transaction scenario. Okay. Call transaction functionality. But update, we can use update asynchronous or synchronous. But we mostly follow asynchronous only here. Here also you can see it says session method is asynchronous processing wise, but database updates will be synchronous.
okay.
Okay, synchronous database update means one by one it will update the data.
Okay.
Yeah. So I copied this code. Here, basically call transaction is not here. This is not that. This is only for call transaction. We can't able to validate whether it is created or not. We don't require. Before that, first of all, I'll go to the top. We'll clear one by one. Okay. Okay. File name. We have to select the file. Upload also required. After upload, before loop, I'm just starting the session. What is the function model to start the session? BDC open group. Call this function model. Here, using the call pattern. Okay. It's not copied. BDC open group. Yeah. This is the function model. Enable all exceptions. Okay. Enable exporting. Without this also it will work. Client, which client you're supposed to process 800, 810, 811. Which transaction you, which client you process, you can enable that. One second, guys. Okay. I wanted to process in this client. SAM mandate will return the current client, 800 client. And group name we have to create. I'll create here. Check 20 FTX. We can write anything. You can write your name also. Keep, we have to write to hold this in the transaction or not in SM35. We can write user, on which user it's supposed to process. whoever is executing the report, we wanted to capture their name, then you can write SAU name, or you can use some generic user IDs also. Some projects they are using some generic user ID. They created only for this batch input session, they create one dedicated user and they're processing that. So it depends on the project, or you can enable SAU name. If I am executing, my name will capture. If somebody is executing, their name will capture. So that's it in this open group. Here again, we have else block. Write it else. If it is success, again loop will work. This end if. Okay. And this open is done. Here we'll write message. BDC open session failed. Understood what we pass here? On which user ID is supposed to process? Which client? Keep means in SM35 whether this entry should be keep or it should be deleted automatically. That we are mentioning. Keep X means we should hold that entry should be presented till end of the day until unless we process that should be hold. And group name, this is the name we can identify our record in SM35. After that, we are
Kishore, what is this group? Is it a
unique name? We can say some name, unique name to identify. Recording also we give some name. Programming, program also we give some name. With this name only we are identifying. So that entry we can identify with that name. Okay. So after loop we are doing here. Call transaction is not there. You can delete this. We can delete the whole block here. All transaction block. This is not required. Okay, but field and line pro is required because IT BDC we have to populate. Now what we are doing here, for each transaction in the session, fill BDC data with values of all screen fields in processing the transaction. How we are filling inside this subroutines with IT BDC data. All 20 entries will be filled with that internal table and transfer the transaction data to session BDC insert. So call this function model BDC insert. Every record we need to push here. So this is a BDC insert. You can see this is enabled automatically. Okay, this is mandatory. What we're supposed to pass here, we have to pass ITC BDC data. Enable the exceptions to catch any random errors, and then enable this. Enable the T code. What is the T code we are processing? FTXP. And remaining or not required. Can close this. After this end if this is G upload. Okay, after G not G upload. BD is open group. Just check where it is closing. This is condition. Okay, it is closing. After this, I can use a BDC close. Close. Here we don't have any importing exporting parameters. Only we have just exceptions. Okay, just closing. Okay. So I'll go one by one again. File name we are reading, and we are uploading the file using G upload. After the file uploading, there is a success. It will go to else part. Else part, I'm just opening group within the client with the same user with this name. Okay. Destination, if you want to pass destination, you can run this BDC in different system also. You'll get confused. I'm just deleting this, all the parameters. I'll let you know what is the QID also. Few of the developers, who of the clients are asking to show the QID also in this in SM35 once we process. So we are opening BDC open group. Again, if there is a size of bus 0 success, then we are looping our data. In the loop, we are filling IT BDC data. Every IT BDC data we are pushing to BDC instead for this transaction. And this is size of bus anyway. We are not writing any message. We are closing and if clearing again, second loop will start. Again, second loop will pass BDC insert. Every loop we are going to push 9 entries to the SM35. Okay. First, we'll delete those entries. FTXP, because we need to know whether it is created or not with this option. One is there, just delete this. O2 also I deleted. Only 2 entries I deleted. Remaining 7 entries are already created. Okay, now we execute this. So what will happen once we execute? First, I'll show SM35, which is a session management. Okay, you can see these are all the session names. This is a unique name. This is a user ID who process date, time, which program it is processed. Our program name also will capture here. User ID will capture again how many transactions we process, how many entries we process. So now we are going to process 9 entries, 9 transactions, 9 into 5, 45 screens will capture here. This is a QID. This number will be written in this function model. Where is that function model? This one. Here we can capture that QID. If they wanted to display, declare some variable and enable this, it will return this number once it is session is this Q number you can display. Because session name is enough, but if the session name is same, if we are executing this report daily 20 times, then filter with the session name is difficult. Filter with Q name will be better. Okay. I'm going to execute this now. Just execute. Provide the file. Code, everything will be same. Only we added the function models before and after. Select, execute. Executing the file. See, we are not displaying any messages. We just process it. Come to here. SM35. Do you have any refresh option here? Option. If we switch the tabs, maybe we can see. Yeah, now you can see it. Are you guys able to see our entry here? Are you able to see this one? J20 FTXP.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes. Did you enable this QID? It's coming.
I didn't enable. No. Here it will generate, but in our program, I didn't write any logic to capture this number.
Okay.
You are able to see this Q entry, right? So once we executed, this number will come. I'm not going to process this. Let me delete this again. I'm just deleting this. So you wanted to enable QID, right? Enable this. What is the type for QID? And exporting, this is the type. APQ QID, this is the data element. QID is there. Success. I wanted to combine all the messages. We have MB message now. What I'm going to do here, after size see here, what will happen? A success will come. So I'm just writing BDC session group is created with QID into MV message separated by space. Okay, so I'm not going to display this message. So here first, BDC session group is open. We can write open with this Q number. So that is one message. After processing, insert is there. After insert, close also there. Okay, not equal to means failure. If it is success, I'm just writing concatenate. MB message is top is there. Now I'm using that message dot BDC session closed. And then closed into again MB message separated by space. Now finally I'll display this. See, you can use concatenation and you can carry forward the messages. Here we wrote some message. This message is active with this. And the same variable I use MV message and I added some message. Both together again I push into the same variable. Okay, now see again I execute MV QID. It is not QID, QID. MV message type success message. I will write information message. Check and activate. Execute. Select the file on desktop. Process. You're able to see here, BDC session group is open with this QID. BDC session also closed. Okay. So copy this number. If you have multiple things. We have a session options only here. Queue options are not there. Now we can't able to filter with queue. Queue will help only for just to identification whether this session is correct or not. So we have this session is active. If you see here delete indicator is not selected because of that keep equal to X we added now. Because of this, if you're not passing this, then indicator will be active. Immediately this entry will be deleted. We will not able to see. Okay, that is the way I mentioned keep equal to X. Now this entry is active in here, but we didn't process it. Okay, now I'm going to process it. Example, you wanted to process it end of the day or starting of the day, you just select and click on process. You can select which process you want to run. Process foreground, which is similar to all screen mode. Display errors, which is similar to error screen mode. Background with the no screen mode. I wanted to run in the background mode, process it. Once you process it, you can log off from the system. You can go from lunch break and all, tea break and all. After that, we can check. How can we check where it is processing? You can check in different tabs, somewhere it is processing. And process in background being created. Okay, it is processing here. It is already processed. It is completed. If it is successfully processed, we can check in process. Now it is mixed result. Okay, 9 transactions we process. How many failures we have? This is red color is failure. Transaction counters. 2 is success. How many screens we process? 45. Why 7 is failed here? Hello. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, Kishore, now.
9 entries
Yes,
we
sir.
processed. Out of 9, 7 failed, 2 success because 7 entries were already created. If you want to see the logs, double click on this. Once you double click, you can see here transactions. First one is processed, second one is processed, remaining all incorrect. You can see the logs created. So it is processed the first transaction. Okay. It is being processed by the user with no screen mode. Okay. This is the first errors. If you remember that BDC process also we got the same messages. We will not get messages like O1 is created. That is foreground activity. In background, if you are receiving this message, this 2 messages, that is success. You can see transaction was processed successfully. So these 3 messages are relevant to first entry. Again, 3 messages for second entry. This is third message, third entry. You can see transaction error, transaction error, transaction error. You can see 9 transaction read, 2 transactions process, 7 transactions with errors, 0 transactions deleted. Which screens we process? We process these 5 screens, the screen numbers. Okay. Any doubt on this?
It's confusing, sir.
Confusing.
Little bit confusing. Yeah.
No, we have processed these 9 entries. We uploaded this file. Out of this file, O1, O2 were not created. I deleted before executing this report. Deleted means this is not there in the system. So that is why first entry, second entry is processed properly. Remaining why it is incorrect. This data is already there in database.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is why this is all incorrect. You can select only all incorrect, all you can select incorrect only. So what as error messages you found, we can see here. We can see here. This is a FTXP index number. You can see index number means start record. This is start record in the Excel. You can see 00357 is the message. You can check what is 00357. Yes, it is SC91 times. It is getting same message. So this is the detailed message for the processing. Transaction error it will come. The entry is already there. Here we can't able to write this entry is already exists. This entry is this entry is having partially created, or this entry is being processed. We can't able to write those kind of messages. We can see the final logs only. This is the log file we call. Okay. So I request you to go through the recording one more time. And I'm just giving some assignments. Okay, just do exercise on that.
Yeah, for a ABAP person, is it a complicated thing to BDC?
No, it is not complicated.
we found it is very.
No, it's why you feel like that. See, in the report, I explained in clearly what we are processing. Okay. Let me go to the report. Twice we discussed, like parameter we discuss. Okay, extract the file. F4 file M. This event we discussed in classical report. On value request for providing F4 option. Until unless you did you practice all the concepts till yesterday. If there is a question mark, then understanding of BD is also a question mark. Okay, file name we are reading. G upload for uploading the file. Here we are passing the file path. Okay, in debug I was shown that I was I think in we explained, I mean we discussed in debug mode, right? In this report previously also. In today only we saw that debugging mode, what is filling in MB file and all. ASCII format means this is a content type, what kind of content we are following. Text file is ASCII format. And hash means the space separator. So tab separator. Here we give one tab separation. Again, LTFTXP, it is similar to Excel. How many columns? We have 5 columns. We declare with the 5 columns. And this is a structure. This structure we discussed before starting the actual concept. Now we have data in this internal table. After that, what we're supposed to do? We have 9 entries. We need to process 9 entries one by one. How to process 9 entries? We did some recording code. Recording is there in SSDB. Same recording we are populating using same structure. What is the structure name? BDC data. This is the structure. Recording also done in the same format. If you open SSDB, Here also we have 5 columns, right? This is also 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we need to fill this information in internal table. Which internal table? ITBDC data. Why we are filling in ITBDC data? These values are dynamic based on our Excel. How we make it? How we made these values are dynamic using work area in the report. You can see here. Because whatever we read in Excel, we put it into the work area. We are processing work area. So structure will not change. The recording code will not change. The total 20 lines will be same. These 20 lines. Only we are changing these values using work area. This work area. From where this work area content is coming, it is coming from ITFTXP. From where this ITFTXP is coming, it is coming from GUI upload. What is GUI upload? To extract the data from Excel file or Notepad or .NET file, this .txt file. Any confusion here? Finally, we are uploading ITBDC data. Where we are uploading? In subroutine, we wrote some code. Why? What is, how we are filling this? Work area BDC. What is work area BDC data? This is work area BDC because we can't able to push 20 entries directly into ITBDC data. We need to push one by one. This is a BDC Pro. This is a BD field. 2 subroutines only we have. Finally, we'll get these 20 entries into ITBDC data. This ITBDC data we are processing into Insight as a Pro tab. And we are processing T code equal to FTX, nothing after other than this. And closing session is directly we are closing. We are not processing anything. We just call the function model.
There is one more transaction for functional, right? LSMW. What is the difference between this and that? Like,
oh, yeah, this is technically we are implementing here. Okay, there we are not validating. We are just mapping with the screen fields. Okay, we have some template LSMW also background. It is processing batch input session on the ITBDC format only. It will process, but it is kind of automation. They did in standard in SAP. So we are just mapping. We are doing those 14 steps, right? Where we are mapping our notepad. This notepad fields with transaction fields, and we are mapping the data. That is also following same approach in the background. But this program they made it as a dynamic. More dynamic to support it to each and every transaction. That is also following background BDC kind of data only. Technically, but now here it is there now. So they're calling Pro BDC also as a dynamic. And whatever the transaction we provided, that will come here. They made it as a variable, that same data will come. When you pass the Excel file, okay, not this Excel, that LSMW Excel. So fields will be dynamic. Automatically, it will extract this content from the transaction. They're also executing in the background BDC code only. SAP implemented BDC kind of code in the background, which supports all kind of transactions. It is kind of automation only, LSMW. There is no difference in the background. Both are technical only. Yeah. Now you just try this one. I'm just giving 2 things. Client creation and bank account creation. Okay. So this is all the transaction FS01 OX10. So when you do recording, first create one bank using FS01. You can check in online how to create bank creation and how to create the client creation. There are many articles are there in the online forums. The same thing you create here. Bank account creation like FS01. You can create bank country India. Bank key you can create FS01. Bank name you can write as you see bank. State you can select. You can select. Street you can select. Okay, city you have to use. bank branch, you can select. So you need to provide this information. You just click on save. What is the issue? City name not accept other than number of. Someone did enhancement. You can use same, no problem. Okay. It will save. See, we provided two values, and inside we provided 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these two values, 7 values we provided. Now, how many screens we navigated here in this recording? Only 2 screens. In FTXT, we recorded 5 screens. When it comes to FS01, this is 1 screen. When you click on enter, this is the second screen. After that, we are not going any screen. In second screen only UPDA will come, update. So if you record FS01, you will get only 2 screens, but fields will be increased. Like see in this screen, we have 2 fields now. So when you record the first screen, you will get 2 values. What are those 2 values? Bank, country, IN will come. One more field will added here, which is a bank key. That value also will come ABCD_0. To next new screen will start it. Cursor OK code will be same. Here instead of that UPDA will come because you're pressing save, right? So in this screen, similarly here you can see 2 fields are coming. Similarly, 5 fields will come. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields. Only 2 screens only there. When you create the program, you will get similar kind of program also. So in that that bank creation, DynPro will come. Field will come twice in the first screen. Sorry, total 3 times will come. Again, DynPro will start. Field will come for the cursor one, and 5 fields are there. 5 times BDC will come. Total, I will tell you how many recordings will come. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 13 lines only will come that time. Lines for the bank creation. 13 recordings. Will you try this for call transaction? Yeah. So here 13 subroutines will come. In 13 subroutines, 2 times DynPro will come. Remaining 11 times BDC field will come. So you have to generate same code here also. DynPro and field. Nothing will change. Similarly, you have to generate and try first call transaction code similar to with reference of previous program, and check whether bank accounts are created or not. Okay, if the bank accounts is completed, I have give one more transaction how to delete bank accounts. We can't delete in FS0. You can use OBR4. You can delete all the banks which are there in country. We can't even delete one by one. Yeah, 4 in we created just now create ABCD01. You can delete 4 banks deleted. We can create again banks. Okay, so BDC code. We can create 30 banks with this notepad. You will be having 7 entries. I have 5 columns. You'll be having 7 columns. You can use India only. Here India will work in this transaction. You can use create the 20 banks. What are the banks you are aware in India, like ICICI Bank, State Banks are there. No? You can mention what are the banks you are aware. You can create all the banks. The 5. Okay. And one more also there. OX10. OX10 is for client creation. You can also try this client creation activity using this OX10 with the session method. Bank account creation using the call transaction. Client creation you can do with the session method. Okay.